This is a Wild Game Production podcast.
You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the dragon woke up.
Roll for initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
DM Matt here, and I'm at Gen Con 51 in the Japanime booth, and I'm here with Cherise, and we're going to go over some of their new games they're bringing out because they got the Robotech license, and they've got games, and I'm looking at them, and I'll have pictures in the show notes for this, and they look awesome. So go ahead and just tell us about your new Robotech offerings.
Yeah. So we have 3 Robotech games actually that we're publishing. We're working with Strange Machine Games, and they actually have a Robotech RPG, just FYI. I don't know when that's coming out, but we're not helping them with that. I just want to give them a shout out. So the Robotech games that we're producing with them are Robotech Attack on the SDF-1, which is a cooperative game kind of similar to Castle Panic, but there's all these unique scenarios that give you objectives, and you're just trying to survive while you accomplish that objective. You can play as 6 different characters. The characters evolve over the course of the game depending on what story points you hit. And there's this cool transformation sequence. So you start the game out with a flat ship, and then if you get enough resources, you can transform the ship into the mech version. And then it has special attacks that it can do when it's in that mode. Right,
and I'm looking at the mech version. It actually is a stand-up figure, a cardboard figure that you assemble, and it looks very sweet. So, yes, very cool.
Yeah, so this game is pretty awesome. It's really in-depth. There's like 9 different scenarios, or you can do survival mode, which is just try to survive as long as possible. So cooperative, you versus the computer kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our second Robotech title that is currently, we're going to be getting that one next, like the soonest, is Robotech Ace Pilot. It is not a cooperative game. It's more of we all have the same goal, but we're trying to be the best at that.
Okay.
And hence you're trying to be the ace pilot. Right. And so in this game, you have a little grid of Zentradi ships that are coming to attack you, and you roll some dice. The dice have little icons on them. Depending on what the icons are, you can pick a pilot to use for that turn. Each pilot can attack different places on the grid and deal damage to it, and if you kill the Zentradi ship, then you get them as victory points, and whoever has the most victory points at the end is the ace pilot. They got the most kills.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's ages 8 and up. It's just supposed to be like a 20-minute game.
Okay, so that's like your quick little filler game there. You go and get a little Robotech combat action in, and if you want something more in-depth, that's what the Robotech Attack on the SDF-1 is. And then you have a third one coming out that you don't have here at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. Brace for Impact is what it's called. I can't tell you anything about it because I haven't seen the rule book yet, but I do know we've got started working on the board. The rule book's almost done. So just keep an eye out for it.
Okay. Yeah. And what are the release dates looking at these?
So Robotech Ace Pilot, we're looking at getting in around October is the release, like official release. You can pre-order it now, and we'll ship them as soon as they come in.
Okay.
The Robotech Attack on the SDF-1, we're looking at like October to December, somewhere in there.
Okay, and what are the price points?
Robotech Ace Pilot is $25, and Robotech Attack on the SDF-1 is $79.95.
Okay. And for that $79.95, you're actually getting a lot. Do you have minis of the various mechs and Zentradis here? I see some Robotech fighters. I mean, so yeah, you're getting your money's worth here for that. So it's yes, the bits all look great and nice, and yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. If you grew up on the original Robotech anime or Macross, it's definitely something to look out for. And Japanime is a company that's known for, you bring Japanese games over to the States. You translate them and bring them over. What differences do you see in, like, the American gaming compared to the Japanese, like maybe styles or just the culture?
I think one of the biggest differences that's the most obvious when you're looking at a game designed by an American or European designer versus a Japanese designer is the lore and stories or the concepts of what you're doing in the game thematically are very, very strange and different compared to the American or European style. So, for instance, Terrifying Girl Disorder, it's a set collection card game, but you're all these girls who have amnesia and you're trying to remember your true identity. So you're collecting sets of memories, quote unquote, in order to remember. So the theme is very deep and complicated, but the gameplay itself is not. The strategy is, but the gameplay is very simple. And it's not something that you see, it's just very integrated, and it's not something that you see with a lot of the more American and European styles. It's very surface level, and it's thematic, but it is what it is kind of thing.
Yeah, because I just recently played several games you've released. A friend of my gaming group has several. We played Nurse Dynamite. We played Harder Crown.
Dynamite Nurse is our favorite. It's my favorite deck builder for what we carry. I know people have other opinions, but it's my favorite.
Yeah, I played it, and it's actually fun. And it's one of those. I'm sure if you've gone to any convention, you've seen the booth because it's kind of hard to miss because it has all the bright colors and the anime characters. And I think sometimes we might overlook some of these different gameplays because that's anime. When they're still at the heart games, and it's a different style and mechanics because, like you were saying, that you don't get from American because American games are more combat, player interactive, and complicated, and whereas the Euro seems to be more about the theming with and more abstract, whereas this is just it's very much what you would expect from Japanese if you're into the culture at all.
And anime also, one of the cool appealing things about anime is that they kind of go to places that like a lot of other mediums don't. Like they just are okay with being weird. So like you said, Dynamite Nurse it's a great game, but it's about nurses who are taking care of adventurers who have gotten hurt in dungeons. Yeah. And they're using magic to do it.
Right.
It is it could just be a normal hospital. Why does it have to be all this other stuff? But it's great that it is all that other stuff.
Right. That's something that's like uniquely Japanese. It's like one of my favorite movies is a Japanese movie, Executive Koala, about a giant koala bear in a suit that's an executive of a pickle company that also happens to might be a serial killer.
I need to see this whenever.
Yes.
I gotta watch it.
Yes, Executive Koala. Check it out. It is amazing. And he's like the only animal in the movie too. The rest are humans.
Oh, sweet.
Just one giant koala.
It's kind of like Business Cat, the meme.
Yes, except it's a koala killer. So, but when you bring games over from Japan, what are you looking for to bring over for the American audience? What type of games will translate well over here? And are there some types of games that are great games but just wouldn't translate to over here?
I don't know that we've ever worried about if it's going to translate or not, as long as the gameplay is good, because like I said, a couple of the games we've mentioned so far, the concepts are very strange. Allismatic Heroes is another one. It's the same designer as Terrifying Girl Disorder. The theme is very different, and it's very in-depth, and sort of, it has nothing to do with the game. It actually has everything to do with the game at the same time. Yeah. So we don't worry as much about that as we do just about good gameplay. I don't know that I've ever played a game from Japan where I couldn't look at it and say, this makes sense to me with all the other games that I played from Europe or from America. Okay. It's more of just like when you read the rule book and you see the story, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Also, why? That's so different. We usually try to pick games that, one, the art functions with what our kind of gig is.
Okay.
Not always. We're not super strict about that, but we have a thing that we do.
Right.
And then also, there are certain types of gameplay styles that we prefer. Obviously, we carry a lot of deck builders. That's like probably our main type of game that we make. I don't know why, but for some reason, there's just a lot of deck builders and or card games coming out of Japan.
Okay.
I don't really see as many of the games that are like the Euro game where you've got all the little pieces and you're getting your victory points and collecting the things, you know, like Catan. You don't see a lot of stuff like that coming out of Japan.
Okay. So really, it just comes down, we're gamers, and games in any language translate and they play. So, and we're in your media room, and you have all your new release. It looks like you have a lot coming out right now. It's like you have like release after release after release coming up.
Yeah, this is just the stuff that we had prototypes for. Starlight Stage didn't make it here. There's like there's 2 expansions to Fairy Garden that we don't have prototypes for. We have a lot planned. We have a lot planned that we haven't announced. If people want to know about stuff before we officially announce it, they need to like get into our fan club mailer.
Okay.
But because we kind of like tease stuff there, but like post pictures of the the covers and things like that, and tell you about the games. But yeah, we have a lot lined up, and for this year, pretty much everything that's here is for this year, or at least early next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were to have someone that's never played any of your games before, and be like, okay, just to get a sample of this is what we do, I really represents, what do you think that first game they should play would be?
It's kind of a toss-up between Tanto Core is like our core thing. It's like our most popular, longest-running title that we've had, and we just keep expanding on it, as you can see. But I would say, like, if you want, that's not for everyone, and that's okay. We understand Tanto Core is not everyone's bag.
Yeah.
If it's not your bag, Heart of Crown is definitely, again, it's a deck builder, much more family friendly. The anime is the style is a lot different than Tanto Core, and people who are fans of video games would probably like to know that it's the same artist who did Etrian Odyssey, which is a very popular anime video game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely that's flagship 1 and 2 titles.
Right, and I will say I have played Heart of Crown, and it actually is a very good game. And because again, me being a long-time con goer, I saw this before, and I'm like, it's kind of interesting. And then you see certain things, you're like, so, but yeah, I played it. I'm like, this is a really interesting, deep game, and it also has a very Japanese theme on top.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth looking out. And you also have looks like we have a fantasy-esque, like in the realm of like a Final Fantasy style, Kamigami Battles coming out.
Kamigami Battles is actually a reboot of a really old title called Kanzume Goddess, and it's a deck building game. We had published it originally in 2014, and now we're relaunching it with some updated components and rules, and then we're making expansions for it. So originally Kanzume Goddess, Kamigami Battles, Battle of the 9 Realms. That's a mouthful. Mm-hmm. They're the same game, essentially. Okay. Same cards. We've tweaked some abilities, and we've made some of the cards oversized, just updated some of the components. We did add a new mechanic, and it's the temple cards. Okay. So when you play Kamigami Battles, it is a deck builder. You get an avatar, and that's a god from an ancient mythology. So you can choose Greek, Norse, Egyptian, or Babylonian with these 2 sets. And then you get a temple card. They give you unique abilities. Okay. And then you start to build your deck, typical deck builder, and you recruit warriors. Mm-hmm. And then you use these warriors to either bring your opponent's energy to 0 or raise your energy to 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
other mechanics that make it unique compared to other deck builders, but this was like a fan favorite forever, and so we finally just decided to bring it back.
Oh, okay, so bringing back an old classic for you guys. Awesome. But yeah, it just looks like you have a ton of great things coming out, and if anyone out there hasn't checked them out, Japanime Games, I'll have links to everything in the show notes and some photos as well, some of the new releases. So thank you for your time, Cherise.
Yeah,
it's been great talking to you, and have a good Gen God.
Roll for initiative.